And now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the members of the panel, the Honorable Ibrahim Awal, Madame Shades Olivia Vaness, Mr. Henry Akwabwa, the Honorable Gansa Yared, Mr. Atu Asian, Mr. Frank Edu Jr., Mr. Bagwan Kumandani, Mr. Salem Kalmoni, and Mr. Henry Godfrey Rupri Kerali. In addition to these distinguished men, please welcome Madam Valentina Minta, Mr. Roxon Dogbeda. And now, ladies and gentlemen, your moderator for this session, host of the City Breakfast Show on City FM, Mr. Bernard Avle.
Thank you very much indeed. We apologize for what seems to be a mix-up. The business minister wants to save us time, so his speech he has truncated. He will take his part on the panel so we can be more prudent with time because we have another panel. That's why he was a bit confused when we called him. So, Honorable Minister, if you can just take a seat, and you don't even need to stand and give a speech. Come and join us on the panel so that it's more refreshing. We apologize for the mix-up. Because he is on the panel, we don't see the point in him giving a full speech before the panel again. He's actually coming to listen to the panel so that he will tell us what he wants to do. So if that makes sense, please put your hands together again for the panel. So,
Honorable Moderator,
yes, please.
Respectfully, I'll have to intervene here a little because we have a little twist to this event. Prior to this panel, we have with us Madame Shade, please remain seated. Madame Shade Olivia Vaness, she's the country director from the Oxford Business Group, and she's here to shed light on the topic we're dwelling on before the discussion, doing business in Ghana, keys to radical changes. Please put your hands together and welcome her.
Honorable Minister, members of the Diplomatic Corps, friendly guests, heads of industries, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon and welcome for joining us. Thanks for joining us at this panel discussion that's about to take place here. I would like to start by thanking the CEO Summit for having us this afternoon and giving me the opportunity to speak on behalf of my company. I'm honored to contribute to the discussions, the debates, and the dialogues on Ghana's key economic issues to move forward. My name is Shade Olivia Van Esch. I know it's a mouthful, but anyways, I am the country director for Oxford Business Group, which is a global multi-platform research and consultancy firm focusing on business conditions in frontier and emerging markets around the world. Today, and as an introduction to the following discussions, I'd like to say a few words on the importance of credible data. As many of you know, Oxford Business Group began its coverage in Ghana in 2010, and we arrived at a favorable time in the country's history. Let's be honest. The discovery of oil launched Ghana's economy into all headlines. Not only was it a major discovery, but the field began producing in record time, and it was providing high-quality crude in a stable country. Especially, this came during the financial crisis where investors around the world were desperate for new high-growth opportunities, and as gold and oil prices were growing steadily. The result of this was an impressive GDP growth. Ghana was among the 5 fastest growing markets in the world in 2011, and with a rate above 14%. The country became one of the top 3 recipients of FDI on the continent, and the benefits were directly noticeable. For example, extreme poverty in the country was reduced by half. However, and as we all know, this was not to last. The impressive growth that the country witnessed did not reduce the economy's dependence on commodities. As a result, when oil crashed, gold prices declined and cocoa production was hit by bad harvest. And we can say that things went south. Other weaknesses proved equally challenging for the country. For example, the current spending on the budget rose, as did payments for dollar-denominated debt. and ultimately leading to the IMF assistance agreement that we all know about. Finally, neither did the global environment help. In addition to the dramatic drop in commodity prices, there was a slowing growth in Asia, as well as a stagnant activity in Europe and a strengthening US dollar. However, we at Oxford Business Group have the advantage of being outsiders, if I may say, and we are viewing Ghana's ups and downs from an exterior perspective. We permanently cover 35 countries around the world, and we can see how Ghana measures up against other markets such as Nigeria, Tunisia, South Africa, or even Saudi Arabia, Malaysia, Mexico. Basically, we see things in context. And so where does this all leave Ghana, and what conclusions can we draw from this? I want to start by saying that Ghana's short-term hurdles, which I like to call the 3 Ds, doomsore, depreciation, and debt. These 3 Ds are significant, and I do not wish to minimize them, absolutely not. And I agree that fixing them will not be easy or quick of a task. However, Ghana has several inbuilt advantages, both man-made and natural: a sizable youth population, a well-defined investment act, a wealth of gold, cocoa, minerals, oil, palm oil for value addition. Even in terms of things like voter turnout, Ghana trumps most European democracies. And this resulted in a third peaceful handover of power that we experienced recently. And equally importantly, what we have seen today from the conversation is that Ghana is making a concerted effort to listen to the needs of the private sector. This new government has shown its intentions to reduce bureaucracy, improve transparency of doing business, and lowering taxes. Increasing foreign investment remains a key component in future economic prospects, not just for the capital it brings, but also the know-how. Promotion and information are one key part of increasing this foreign investment. As many of you know, our research is compiled through conversation and discussions with people like you, stakeholders and decision makers from the public and private sector, but also civil society. In fact, I see and recognize some of these stakeholders today, and I wish to highlight how valuable your input and contribution is as a source of information to understand the economic background of this country. For foreign investors to successfully contribute to the development of the Ghanaian economy, they must be able to navigate the market. And to do so, they must know and understand this market. Therefore, by communicating your knowledge, your experience, and your insights to the local market, whether they're relating to regulatory issues or sectorial developments, we are able to provide an accurate view of both the opportunities and the challenges facing business in Ghana, which comes back to my initial point of the importance of credible data. And this is why we hope that a mind shift and a concerted effort, as well as our Ghana coverage from our investment report to our monthly newsletters or even our CEO survey, will play their part in getting the message of Ghana's tremendous potential across to a global audience. Thank you for your time, and I'm especially looking forward to the panel discussions.
Thank you very much, Madam Sheda Olivia Vaness. You may please join the panel.
Please join us. It's such a beautiful presentation. You can't escape on your 3Ds. So I'll let you elaborate on your 3Ds. Thank you, really appreciate it. Thank you, Jerry. Please put your hands together again for the panel. And just to let us know who is here, I'll just mention the panelists. They will acknowledge their name by giving us a wave, and then we'll give them a round of applause. So we have the Minister for Business Development, Honorable Ibrahim Awal, here with us. Thank you. We have the Country Director of the World Bank for Ghana, Mr. Henry Kerali, here with us. The MD of Engine Group, Mr. Henry Akwabua, is also here with us. Privileged to have the CEO of Forwin Ghana, Honorable Gassan Yared, here with us. Also privileged to have the CEO of Melcom Group, Baguwan Chadnani, here with us. As well, the CEO of Japan Motors Trading Company, Salem Kalmoni. Thank you, sir. We were expecting the CEO of West Blue Consulting, Madam Valentina Minta. If she's here or her rep is here, we'll be happy for them to join us. We're also privileged to have from the Essage Group, Mr. Atu Essien. He's the CEO. Thank you, sir. And the MD of GT Bank Ghana, Lekan Sanusi, also here with us. So we have a very nice spread, and of course, from the OBG, thank you for setting the scene for us. Before we come back to what you said, though, I think it would be nice to start with the minister, because I remember at an event recently, that was in 2016, certain business people really clamored for a business minister. So in many ways, you are our minister. So we want you to set the ball rolling for us by briefly telling us what your own priorities are and what you want to do, because this is your audience. So we'll give you 2 minutes to do that before we now tell you what is happening in our business community. So put your hands together for Minister. You can sit and speak, yes.
Thank you so much. I'm really thrilled by the caliber of persons here. I'm your humble servant. I'm your humble servant. My ministry was created to serve you, and together with you, we would deliver the goods. What the president did, what he told me, was that remove every obstacle to doing business in Ghana and make sure that businesses in Ghana do not only triumph, but become globally competitive. And that is what I intend to do with your support. We are not only encouraging businesses to come and set up, we also want to support local indigenous businesses to grow. We intend to have 20 globally competitive businesses within the 4 years. Wow. We would do it. We would do it. Why can't we do it? It's not about politics. We are a business-friendly administration. All I want to ask of you and to plead you to do is to constantly bombard my office with the issues. And we have a desk that will solve the issues. Whether it's about registration of business, access to credit, protecting investor rights, insolvency, please let us work together. All the issues we line up in the budget and the president's statement is meant to make Ghana a business-friendly environment so I can grow businesses that are globally competitive. I want to say that I'm your servant. I'm a willing tool to make Ghana globally competitive. The ball is in your court. Let us work together and make Ghana easy, friendly, and the most business-friendly ever destination in this world, so that the people of Ghana's livelihood can be improved, they can pay their taxes, and the cycle goes on and on. Ghana can become better off. At least in West Africa and Africa, we should be #1. Our GDP now is about 40 billion. It's not the best. Nigeria has 500, South Africa has 200 and something. We want to move Ghana from where we are, and we don't want to walk. We want to leap. We can only leap with the support of the private sector. Please, you are welcome, and let us work together to make Ghana a better.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. So that was fantastic. You said 2 things. You want to make globally competitive businesses, and you want to remove the obstacles. There are 2 ways of doing this. Talk to the people who study it, and talk to those who do business here. 2 people study it, Madam Olivia and the World Bank. The rest of these guys, they do business. So I'm going to ask the World Bank gentleman to tell us how globally competitive we are. Then I'll allow the people who actually do business here to tell us what their problems are. So, Mr. Kerali, how competitive are we globally in terms of doing business before I talk to the business leaders?
Well, first of all, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. This might work better, I think. Unfortunately, the news is not that good. In terms of global rankings, Ghana's rankings have been declining over the past 10 years. We at the World Bank, we do the doing business, so ease of doing business rankings. In that, Ghana ranks 108 out of 109 countries. This is the latest ranking. 10 years ago, Ghana was at about 60. And now Ghana, unfortunately, has declined. Now, of course, one can talk about the region. In the region, Ghana is probably 9 out of the 50 or so countries in Africa. The point I'd like to make is don't compare yourself with the region, because Ghana wants to be globally competitive. And so the target should not be comparing yourself with Nigeria, Liberia, Sierra Leone, Togo, Benin. Ghana can do better. Ghana must do much better. So thinking of yourself, thinking of Ghana as 9th in Africa, well, you're still behind Rwanda, you're behind Mauritius, you're behind Kenya, you're behind a whole host of countries. So the real issue is, what does Ghana need to do? And I hope that the panel will highlight some of the issues. I'm happy to come back and describe some of the issues that we at the World Bank believe Ghana should be doing. Thank you.
Thank you. So this one I'm going to call. Let me allow the panel to jump in. There are two panelist types. They are the finance people. Mr. Essien Sanusi, you are the money people. And then we have the product people, cars and food and all of that. So let me take the money people first so that it will make it easy to appropriate the conversation. So Mr. Sanusi and Mr. Essien, you provide finances for us. World Bank says we are not doing well globally. Minister says he's your humble servant. Tell us one or two key things he needs to do, because don't forget that access to capital and access to money is a big problem. Tell us from the money side what he needs to do.
Thank you so much, Mr. Moderator. And I think the last speaker actually summarized what particularly maybe has been going on. I think we have earned a reputation as maybe as a country in Africa or as a country in West Africa. And we have that reputation, that image, that we're probably the best or one of the best. And I tend to share a belief that at times maybe when you carry that in your head, you might be thinking that you are doing very well. But when you place yourself within the context of the globe, you suddenly realize that there's still a lot to be done. And the potentials are there. The infrastructures are there. Education. Ghana has one of the best education in Africa. A lot of foreigners come here to study there. Law and order is good. Rule of law. Some degree of safety in the environment. We should then begin to ask ourselves, what are the key areas? As a banker, for instance, I don't think interfacing with the Registrar General Office, I don't think the feedback is very good. I don't think the feedback is very good because even as a banker that needs to open an account for a customer, I need to go in there to go and conduct my search. And typically, maybe because we got this legacy from the colonial era, it cuts across the whole of most of African countries. Our Registrar General Department, where people register companies, the experience is terrible. We have cases where, because we have created that bureaucratic setting, you have situations where the unofficial sources has become the official source of registering companies. And you see situations where foreigners eventually don't use the word duped, but they will give them registration materials. And when you conduct the search, suddenly realize that they are not authentic. Now, if at the point, that's the gateway where the man needs to enter the country to register, to incorporate a business, if the experience is not very good, if he's able to cross that level successfully, and that experience is negative, and then he comes to the bank to say, I want to open an account, a requirement is the bank should conduct a search. And then the bank goes to the Registrar General and comes up with a negative search and say, Mr. Man, I'm sorry, I cannot open an account for you. Then that becomes another issue to say because your document is not genuine. So maybe the first place where we need to start cleaning the system. Beautiful environment, beautiful airport, which we have. The guy arrives in the country, fantastic. Then this Registrar General Department is an area where we need to clean. Then it gets to the level where he now has to bring his funds in. We might begin to then look at a review of the payment system in general. Payment system. A man who is used to probably sitting down in the comfort of his office or home and doing a lot of payments, say in Europe, and comes to our country Most of our countries are like that in Africa. And he has to do fiscal payment. I ran into an expatriate who could not believe that he was going on an offshore trip. He works for a Ghanaian company. And he was giving, instead of a card, he was giving cash. And the man looks at me and says, what will I do with $5,000 cash? Where will I go? I'm going to Europe. Typical hotels in Europe will not even accept cash. So we need to probably come down again. We are doing a lot. We need to come back again and say, okay, can we look at the payment system generally? The payment system, we don't need to reinvent the wheel. We have standards which have been set in the world, which we can attempt to.
Okay, thank you. You've mentioned 2 points: Registrar General Interface Payment System. Mr. Essien, please take the mic in front of you. If there's anything you want to add from the money side before I bring in the others.
All protocol observed. Bernard, thank you very much. As for the problems, everybody sitting here knows the problems. We can talk about Registrar General, but to a large extent, I think where there is a will, there is a way. And so when you get into any jurisdiction, definition of doing business, easier or not, is relative. It depends on what exactly you are looking at. But entrepreneurs, they generally have a fighting spirit. So when you come into an environment, your will to succeed, you should be able to break the doors and break the opportunities for you. Strategy is always critical than capital. Strategy is critical than capital. Many times I've heard a lot of business people talk about capital. I agree to that. I believe in that. But you know, if capital is giving that preeminence over strategy, then startups will be always disadvantaged. But we know today, Jeff Bezos started Amazon less than 20 years, bigger than Walmart. That is almost about 80 years. Why? Strategy overcame capital. 2, we know about American Online. Before American Online was MySpace. Today, Google had beaten them to the show. Strategy bigger than capital. In our own jurisdiction, we've seen startup companies who at the time they were starting, if you look at the people they were looking at as role models, were far away, but they have used strategy to be able to beat capital. So let's be mindful of the element of strategy. Now we are talking about digital economy. I sit and I look at Ghana, and I think that we have done significantly well. Now, that significantly well is on the premise on where we have come from. Where we have come from the colonial days to the dark age, to the industrial age, to the agricultural age, to the information communication technology age. If you look at the fact that our educational level based on the masses and the average consumption per household, and the critical thing we've been able to do with mobile phone, I think that Africa deserves to be applauded because there are things we are doing with the mobile phone that elsewhere they have no clue. The real challenge is our quest to now be intentional about strategy, because it is only when we are intentional about strategic pitch that we'll be able to evolve. And why do I say that? If you look at our financial system, it is collateral-based lending. So Bernard, you have a fantastic idea, but the bank says that give me a collateral before I will give you the money. Now you don't have collateral. So if you have an economy of 10 people, and in every economy we have people who have deficit, people who have surplus. The bank or the financial institution is the third party. The guy who has a surplus, give it to him, and then he says, I'm going to give it to the guy who has a deficit. And then we will leverage by reason of fees and commission. Now, Bernard, if that 10 people, 2 persons have collateral, it means that 2 persons are the only people who have access to what? Capital. Now, what about the 8 people? If the 8 people actually are the people who have the ideas, who have the pitch, and who have the strategy. Because we've elevated capital over strategy, these people will not have access. Why? We don't respect conceptual strategy.
Wow, fantastic. So are you saying that in your company, if somebody comes to you with a great idea, even though collateral, they'll get money?
It's the model.
Wow.
It's the model. I will always talk about the fact that I, as an individual, and that's why I have invested in almost about 16 conceptual companies in my private capacity. Because on the organizational front, you have a regulator who will not allow you to do that. But we are all mindful and we sing the praises of the iPhones, the Googles, and then the Facebook. But these were companies that started with a concept.
Okay.
But because we as a people have not graduated to the point where we appreciate digital economy, concepts are not respected. We want to see brick and mortar. We are talking nicely, but go to somebody and tell him the Uber idea that we are all celebrating. A friend of mine told me the Uber idea 13 years ago.
Wow.
The question, what was there? Person to see a vision, to say we want to bring it into the present.
Hold that thought. Thank you for that angle to the discussion. But I want to bring in Mr. Yared Forwin and then Malcolm as well. When I was in secondary school, I used your products, milk and stuff. And as for Malcolm, we've been shopping there for years. Obviously, you know a thing or two about what works in Ghana and what doesn't work. So let's hear from you.
First, I'm happy that I've seen you grown on our milk. So, well done. Good afternoon, everyone. I want to try to simplify my experience and my contribution to this panel. And I would like to refer to something Honorable Senior Minister said. Why do Ghanaians succeed outside Ghana and they do not succeed when they come back to Ghana? And for me, this is a simple answer. And the answer can be that the environment is not friendly enough and to help and assist people to succeed with their ideas. You know, when you come to Ghana, I came to Ghana in 1993 as an investor. I succeeded in the country. I'll tell you why. Because similar to Ghanaians, they succeed outside Ghana. Also, Lebanese succeed outside Lebanon, where we do not succeed in our own home country. And there is a reason for that. Now, having succeeded in Ghana as a Lebanese and became Ghanaian, I have the responsibility to share with you my advice. And I have the commitment to assist my new friend, new best friend, Honorable, to help him succeed in this new task. It's very simple and easy to come to Ghana and establish a company. You can come register the company as a foreigner, GIPC. It's very easy, open heart, big smile, people are friendly, and then you are hooked. It's not easy to run and grow a company in Ghana because of what I have said earlier. The environment needs to be adjusted. And the worst thing is that we all know that we have what it takes to succeed. Ghana, we have it all. We have the land, we have the culture, we have the minerals, we have the people, we have the, I mean, if you look at it, we are blessed much more than any other West African country. And yet, we are still here. I think today, with everyone gathered here, this is a great opportunity to start a new chapter and say, okay, it's the turning point, we need to make it happen. And I'll tell you, there is a very big need to a group. I mean, when you work, you know, you have one vision for a country. And then when we go deep, we see that every ministry has its own vision in Ghana. What I strongly suggest is that all the ministries should align into one vision and work together to achieve that vision. I'm going to take the example of one district, one factory, one district. It's beautiful. It's amazing. You know, for an economy to grow, simply you have to look at it that you need to have a trade balance. So what you spend should not be more than what you earn. And to grow what you earn, what you need to do, you need to create alternative. You need to create investments that will generate for you alternatives to import. You cannot just simply say, I want to increase the duties on import, or I want to ban the import, and then the alternative will be created on their own. It's not true. It's not going to happen. And it's the chaos. Then we see open borders. We have a lot of challenges. So I tell you honestly, if we look at one factory, one district, if this great idea is to happen, we need to look at the model from the beginning till the end. And if we look at the model from the beginning, it starts from the farmer itself. Because if you need a factory, you need raw material. And if you need raw material from your own home country, you need to grow farming. If you want to grow farming, look at the farmers today. There are a lot of them. What they need assistance. The assistance in terms of providing them with the right tools and machineries that they have no means to procure them, so they develop their land. In the past, government gave some subsidy, and they have given away, in my opinion, given away the tractors. And then those tractors, they were used by the farmers for a few months. They were not maintained. They couldn't pay. Government lost their money. The objective of developing the farm did not succeed, and then we are back to square one. There are ways to create district centers where you can put machineries at the service of the farmers. Those machineries will be used by the farmers. And by the way, we have made a presentation as a company. We have a company called HMD4 when dealing with heavy machinery and dealing with agriculture product. We've made a presentation to the Minister of Agriculture. Maybe we should take it from there.
All right.
Yeah.
Mr. I want you to...
I need to land.
Yes.
I need to land.
Need to.
Now, so when the farmers start developing the land, we need to educate the farmer that in the same hectare of land, you can get 10 times more raw material if you use the right seed and if you use it properly. So this is also the responsibility. From there, when they farm and they bring the produce, we need to provide logistic and distribution center warehousing to safeguard those produce to those district factories to have access to available raw material. From there, after production, you need the roads, you need infrastructure. So if you look at the model from the beginning till the end, to come to the end to banking and a lot of other things, you will see that Ministry of Agriculture and Ministry of Transport and Ministry of Trade and Ministry of Finance, they all need to come together to put the model. It's not only about one ministry that has, preached this idea and then hope for the best. Okay. It's not going to happen. I think that there are a lot of experienced entrepreneurs and CEOs in this room. They are totally committed, like myself, to assist the government if we are given the opportunity to speak.
Thank you. Thank you for the environment, and also you've gone back to strategy, and I like it. Thank you very much for that. Let's take the comments from Melcom, then I'll come to Japan Motors and then Engine. Sir, what can you add?
Our friend, the last speaker, spoke very well, especially about President's dream of having a factory in each district. I think it's a very laudable aim and is achievable, but it's not going to happen unless and until a lot of thought is put in place, right incentive created. Our banker friend mentioned about the constraint of helping farmers with loans. In India, a certain percentage is kept aside. No bank is allowed to give less than 5% to the farmer of their loan portfolio at a reduced, subsidized rate of interest. And a bank that does not qualify or does not take into that account is is penalized for not keeping a certain percentage for farmers and small traders, like somebody buying a three-wheeler cycle to make a livelihood. It's a very small loan, maybe $200, $300, $400. Perhaps the banks in Ghana find collection of such loan in bits and pieces cost ineffective. But they'll have to do something in order to move the wheels of the commerce going. Ghana has got an advantage over all the ECOWAS countries. Ghana has signed various protocols, and I believe this to be true, that Ghana is one of the few countries that honors those protocols. Very few of our neighboring countries are prepared to honor their protocols. But we continue signing more and more, and we continue the dream that the import duties throughout ECOWAS should be same, so that no country has an advantage of exporting indirectly, meaning smuggling into any other country. Keeping this in mind, we have kept our duties very high, which are counterproductive. They encourage smuggling. I'm a strong believer in low duty. You will collect a lot more than with high duty. Same applies to the income tax. We are in a very enviable position here in Ghana because Ghana is a very friendly country, and most investors would rather invest in Ghana, where we could have possibly a market of 500 million people, or is it 350 million? Ghana on its own, with a population of 28 million, there are certain industries which are just not cost effective. But they would be if we had such a big market such as ECOWAS. But we, in my opinion, are failing to give proper incentive. Any industry that comes, we are not prepared to give them land. We expect them to buy it at a very exorbitant rate in the market. And land tenure system being what it is in Ghana, you are never sure whether you have really got the land in your name. So basically, investors are looking for some incentive. Even highly industrialized countries are offering incentive. Over here in Ghana, we talk about incentive, but truthfully speaking,
you don't have the incentives.
If anything, they are disincentive. They are not incentive.
Okay. So you've mentioned a few things: smuggling and high duties, not an incentive, high taxes as well. But Ghana has a great advantage. We have two more members of the panel who haven't spoken. I think it's fair to give them a chance to add any points. So let me come first to my friend from Toyota. Forgive me, Nissan. I just wanted to be sure you were awake. Forgive me, Nissan. when you mention a rival brand, if he's asleep, you will wake up. Just a trick. Forgive me. So he also mentioned smuggling, which I think you should talk about, Mr. Kwabwa, because in the past couple of weeks, there's been news about fuel smuggling, how it affects your business. But before I take your comment, please give him a mic if you don't mind. Yes. Mr. Kalmoni, Japan Motors, just your quick thoughts.
Good afternoon, everyone. Happy to be here. I think the topic of the day for this panel is doing business in Ghana, keys to radical change.
Yes.
So we're supposed to come up with some radical advice. I hope I can come with some. I would say that, first of all, let me start on a positive note. To do business in Ghana, here, or in any country, the World Bank came with 11 factors. I believe these factors are not the most important. They missed the most two important ones. Wow. Number one is political stability.
Nice.
Okay? And I think on that note, we can rate Ghana very high. I would give Ghana an A. Nice. The democracy we have, the freedom of the press. And this is what attracts business, political stability. Who wants to go now to Ivory Coast with what's happening recently? So we score well on that point. The second fundamental condition is economic stability. And I wouldn't rate Ghana very high on this. Before we start improving some of the, I see the 11 factors. How easy is it to connect to electricity? How easy to register a company? How about getting the city stable? Okay, as businesses.
The 3Ds.
Yes, okay.
Terms of depreciation and
yes.
debt.
So as importers, exporters, manufacturers, I mean, we've been turned to currency speculators instead of concentrating on our business. Wow. This year we had the CD at 4 going to 4.69. We purchased dollars at that and dropped to 4.24. Now it's going up and down. So what the government needs to do is to get the economic stability, get the CD stable, get interest rates down, inflation down. I think this counts more than anything else than the other factors. One other, again, I would call it under economic stability, is the smuggling, that's the fraud at the ports. And just 2 weeks ago, the oil marketing companies were complaining that they are being driven out of business. How can legitimate business operate? Okay, if there's no fair playing field. Now imagine a 20,000-ton oil tanker going through the port, being able to smuggle. So it makes you wonder about a container, a 2-ton container. You can imagine that, and I'm in business, I know it's not a fair playing field. You are penalized for being for doing the right thing.
Yes.
And these are fundamental conditions to doing business here. After getting this done, then we can go and improve, yes, the other smaller issues.
Wow.
In my opinion.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for that. The final comment nicely segues in because the MD of Engine Ghana Limited, Henry Akwaboah, you've been speaking about fuel smuggling as a sector, and Mr. Kalmoni has given you a nice bed. So just elaborate on that a bit. Then I will take a comment or two from the audience, anything they've missed out. The minister says he's here to listen. So he's here to listen. So, Mr. Akwaboah, you are the final person on the panel.
Thank you very much. You can see a smile on my face. I've been talking about this topic for a long time now, and I thought I had spoken enough. So you're going to let me off the hook. But, of course, talking of smuggling also brings to mind the criminality associated with it. And, of course, it's very difficult dealing with criminals. Sometimes you need to protect your own life, etc. Yes, smuggling in whatever form does not create a level playing field for competition. So Mr. Kalmoni just mentioned 20,000 tons of fuel. It's quite big. It can distort the market significantly. But again, I mean, you have bodies, authorities, and the security agencies in place to check these. These are human institutions, and the extent to which they are compromised in these activities is something that needs to be addressed. It's not just the players in the oil marketing space who are losing out, but then the government is also losing out big time. Last year alone, it is estimated that about 850 million cedis were lost through the activities of these smugglers. But we met with the minister last week. They are putting some measures in place to forestall this. The modus operandi of these guys, I think we've highlighted them in the past weeks, so I don't want to repeat that. But talking of doing business in Ghana, I think the comments made so far points to the fact that we need to get the basics right. To this extent, the ministries, departments, agencies, municipalities, metropolitan assemblies, and the district assemblies need to be properly coordinated. Today, they operate in silos. They don't talk to each other. So it leads to multiplicity of requirements, multiplicity of fees and levies that have to be paid. And this is killing businesses. I'll give you an example in my sector, whereby if you have a filling station, on a yearly basis, you need to renew your environmental permit. Now, the Environmental Protection Authority requires you to pay for each underground storage tank installed at your service station. Then the district assembly also comes and says, pay for each underground storage tank installed at your service station. Then you have the Ghana Highways Authority coming to you to say, because your consumers or your customers use the roads to come and buy products from you, you need to pay for road usage. Now, when you look in the price build-up, all marketing companies are collecting something called the Road Fund Levy for the government. So on one hand, we are helping the Ministry of Highways or Ministry of Road, and on the other hand, one of their agencies is killing us. Now, the price that you pay at the pump, only 5% of it comes to us as gross margin or gross revenue. How do you survive in all this? So there needs to be proper coordination of all the players who should make the business environment more friendly.
Thank you very much for my panel. So I think they've said a lot, but I think it would be nice to pick a couple of quick comments from around if there's anything they've missed out on. We've heard a lot about economic stability. I think that's unanimous here. And there's a point I can call operational coherence. Listening to all of you, you're saying that government needs to run better, talk to each other, don't be operating in silos, be more strategic in thinking. That's another point. Is there anything else in terms of radical suggestions that my panel is missing that I need to come to you for? Otherwise, I'll bring the minister in to give us 2-minute response and we are done from this side. So Jerry has a mic. Anybody wants to make a quick addition or you want to sort of correct something which was patently wrong said here? No? Okay. Which means my panel is doing fantastic. Okay. All right. Come forward. I thought you were going to give me a pass.
Just a quick comment to add to the discussion of the panel. To bring about radical change, in my opinion, it has to be induced either by the private sector or by the government itself. In most African countries, we don't have the maturity to liberalize the private sector, to allow it to do its work. So most of the change, and if I may call it radical change, must come from the government, must be government-induced. So my wish is to put a system of checks and balances in place because we get a lot of promises that change is coming about, but from government to government, we don't see that change, or we see very small change. So I think we can start by putting a system of checks and balances, a framework for accountability, so at least we can see the politicians walking the walk, not only talking the talk. If we start with there, I think we can do a lot of change basically by changing the economic environment for the private sector, allowing it to bring about even more radical change. So my wish is to put a system of accountability.
You didn't tell us your name.
Matthew Corey from HMD Forwin. And to finish my comment, I'd like to say that my personal experience with Ghana is one of the easiest countries in Africa to do business in. We have operations in Nigeria, Guinea, Sierra Leone, Liberia. We trade with most of Sub-Sahara and North Africa. And I can guarantee you that Ghana is one of the easiest places to do business with.
Wow, thank you very much. Any more comments? All right, there's a gentleman behind you, sir. Yes.
Hi, I'm Professor Boachi Ejeyi from the Focus Hospital. I just want to bring up a point. Not every business is in the city. That has all the amenities that go with the city. So some businesses in the outskirts, in the rural areas, and we get forgotten by the higher authorities, such that even though you're taking a business to a rural area where you're enabling the community to develop, to grow, you may not have any water, you may not have any power, you may not even have a road network to go to that place. And that's usually not the job of the business itself, it's the job of the government. And nothing happens, and we get forgotten.
Thank you. His hospital is doing some fantastic work, and they are not...
We have no roads.
In the city.
We have no water.
They are near Pantan somewhere.
Exactly.
We are it's a true story. So please take note of that. Thank you very much for the good things you do.
I don't think I'm the only one.
Yes, I know, but it is a good place to start. Final comment. Professor, thank you. Thank you. Any final comment?
One here.
Yes, that will be our final comment.
Yeah, my name is Kwame Jikono from Global Legend Consult. Great ideas from our panelists, but I also want to know that sometimes there are unhealthy competitions among the various companies that instead of us to focus on, yes, we know that as company, as my brother just mentioned, that somebody from Nissan, but he said from Toyota, all of a sudden they say, no, not from Toyota. But we know that these are car-making companies, so they can, in a way, share ideas to be able to improve upon that sector. But we look at the same brand or, the same company that are doing, or companies that are doing almost the same product, but the unhealthy competition among them also cannot unite them for the development of that sector. If they can also expatiate on that, I think that will also be very healthy in whatever we are discussing today. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much indeed. So now, Minister, you say you are a humble servant. You've heard from the creme de la creme of business in Ghana. What is your assurance? When will you do what? And when should we call you back to tax you? There have been specific problems pointed out. Economic stability, crucial. There must be some operational coherence in the way you vision and run government. And then there are issues of bottlenecks in taxes and smuggling and all that. What's your response?
Thank you. I think that it's a journey. It's not an event. I'm very humbled by the suggestions and ideas. It's a journey. We must do it together. What I want to assure you is that we are very open, willing, and committed to do business together. We have a DEX. Our minister is just across here, just by GFA. We want to have a quarterly discussion with all the various sectors of the economy. Every quarter will come around, I collect all these ideas and send it to the president. The president is very interested in making sure that the obstacles are removed. So it's a journey I think that we can embark together. But I want to urge all of you to be ambitious. I like ambition. And let's take risks. Most of you only see the obstacles. Let's also take some risk. Within the challenges, there are opportunities that we can exploit. So I here want to assure you that we are willing and ready. Please work with us, and let's constantly and systematically remove the obstacles.
Wow.
And I can assure you that we are open for business. Thank you.
Thank you very much. This is the shortest speech I've heard from a politician in my life. And I'm not too old. So you speak the language of business because business people don't talk too much. So you understand each other. If you agree with him, put your hands together for him. I want to quickly summarize and thank the panel. And Lekan Sanusi, MD of GT Bank, you set the scene. Registrar General's issue, we appreciate it. Mr. Atuesian, SH Group, thank you very much, we appreciate it. And Mr. Kerali had to leave for another appointment, and so in absentia, we thank him. Mr. Akwabua, MD of Engine, thank you very much. Honorable Gassan Yared, CEO of Forwin, great anecdote, why Ghanaians succeed abroad. We can relate. So thank you for that one. And of course, Mr. Kunchadnani, CEO of Melcom Group, always a pleasure seeing you. And Mr. Kalmoni as well. But we really need to thank you. And I probably need to give the last word because you set the scene nicely for us with your intro. And I think that as OBG, you need to tell us what your takeaways are so that you would be the alpha and omega of the presentation. So please, let's take the final comments as a way of summarizing from Madame Sheda Olivia Van Esch, who's our OBG rep, as we wrap up the panel.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I was really honored and humbled to hear the panels today because, to be honest, this is a topic that I hear every day for the past year and a half since I've arrived in Ghana. And it's interesting to see that any sector has issues and tries to overcome them. And my conclusion from this is that there is an intention to shift the mindsets of the different personalities, would it be in public or private sector. And that's where it all starts, the will to change the mindset. And following this, there is an absolute necessity of sharing and communicating all information, not only between ministries, but also between different industries to understand the alpha and omega, the beginning and the ending. It comes back to the example of the One District, One Factory, where it's just not about building a factory. It comes with different hurdles, different struggles. highlighting my first speech, I think, again, credible and useful data is necessary to overcome any challenges, to understand what we are dealing with, what is facing us, and understand what is in the next few months, 4 years, 8 years. As a conclusion, I think the most important element is to diversify the economy in Ghana. We cannot pretend to rely on one commodity anymore. Today's panel is very diversified. We see people from different industries, and I'm very happy about that because this is what Ghana needs. And I believe that that's where Ghana is headed towards.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. And thank you to Honorable Minister for Business Development for staying from morning. Thank you very much. My name is Bernard Avle. We'll receive our MC.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Bernard Avle and his amazing panelists, a round of applause. All poised for the last presentation, the last panel discussion, the cherry on the cake on digital innovation economy. Let me hear you say, yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it would have Mr. Philip Soa, Mr. Robert Ballard, Mr. Amardeep Singh, Mr. Cecil Sunkwa Mills, Mr. Kofi Dazi, and Madam Yolanda Kuba. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our amazing panelists for this very last panel discussion, Mr. Philip Soa, Mr. Robert Ballard, Mr. Amardeep Singh, Mr. Cecil Sunkwa Mills, Mr. Kofi Dazi, Madam Yolanda Kuba, and Mr. Mohammed Lawal Rufai. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for our very last and final panel discussion.
Don't worry, let's all come. Let everybody come then.
In addition to this very amazing panel, may I respectfully ask Professor Kwekwe Tuahene Jima, Madam Angela Trimating Jimo, Mr. Bright Ousu Amufa, and Mr. Albert Bega. And as your moderator, ladies and gentlemen, the former Dell country manager for Ghana and now the CEO of Blue Space Africa, a digital innovation company, please welcome Mr. Samuel Amano. To set the tone for this last and final panel discussion on digital innovation economy, please welcome your very own Mr. Ralph, digital tech expert from Kung Fu Exchange.
Hello, everyone. So let me start with a show of hands before introducing myself. So whom among you has a personal or a business Facebook page? Come on, guys. My mom has a Facebook page. Okay, so whom among you has posted a piece of content that has reached more than a million people? Oh, there's someone in the back. Okay, cool. So the reason I'm asking these questions is that we've talked about some amazing ideas today on different panels, but the real question is, to do a business transformation, we need to go through a digital transformation first. Because the big question is, if we have some really good ideas, how can we get them across to the biggest number of people? So to introduce myself, I'm really proud to be standing here among you. My name is Ralph On. I'm representing my agency, Kung Fu, a digital and advertising agency leading the way in Africa. And I'm also representing the Exchange, the largest commercial and residential platform, or actually real estate in Ghana and Accra. So let's start quickly with the presentation. Next, please. So let's start by transforming our ideas. To transform our ideas, we have an acronym that I want to tell you about. It's called SUCCESS. Let's go through each letter of the success word. Next. Next, please. It's no longer about how good your ideas are, it's about how shareable they are. So how many people are actually going to make your idea go viral? The first letter is the S. Make your idea simple. Make your idea in a way that anyone will understand it. The first example, Life Is, a campaign that we've launched for Samsung in Lebanon, asks people to share what life is to them in one word. Imagine how simple that is. And that's what got the campaign to go viral really, really quickly. Next, U, unexpected. Make sure your ideas are unexpected and unpredictable. Let's take an example. Be the minister. One of the ministers asked the youth to express and to see if they know what are the accomplishments of his ministry. And in return, one young guy was chosen to be a minister for one day. He went to the government, he took decisions, he didn't steal money, although it's, in my country it happens a lot. However, this came as a very unpredictable idea, and that's why it spread. Next, make it concrete. Let's take an example. This real estate project in Nigeria wanted to show the people what it is about to see the experience and live the experience of this building, of this new project that is huge. So the website shows, during the day, it shows the building all lit up, and as the time goes by, you can see the building at night. So it's very concrete. People can see the idea in front of them. They don't need to imagine it. Next, make your idea credible. Making your idea credible, let's see the example. For example, Mr. Machinery, it's a leading platform in Europe for many, many years, decided to do their expansion and have a machinery marketplace here in Africa. And they did not rebrand and start the brand all over again. Instead, they continued with their brand, and they used their database of credible sources, taking testimonies and quotes in order to start from where they stopped and not actually restart the whole process all over again. So always make sure you have credible ideas to win more points. Next, make your ideas emotional. Remember that people can always forget what you tell them, but they can never forget how you make them feel. So always try to make your ideas emotional. One example we've done in Nigeria, we've asked people to ask for one wish, and the one project in Lagos will make it come true. So one of the NGOs actually sent a wish, next please, of having 500,000 naira to donate laptops to a charity. And the brand made this wish come true. Everyone remembered how it felt. So always remember that make your stories or your ideas emotional. Next. Always tell stories. Remember, whenever you tell a story, people are more able to remember it. So when we want to tell them to engage with the government or with our business in order to change things around in Ghana, always tell it as a story. Let's take an example. The example is our own agency. It's called Kung Fu, and it has a little cute character called Fu. Fu was born in Lebanon, he was raised in Africa, and he grew progressively. Even when you go to the website, you can move Fu around. Let's see the next example. Here, Fu is sunbathing. So creating these small gimmicks and telling that story will make people remember the character and remember the agency. Next. This is the character for each of our employees, each of our team members. Next. So we finished the part about transforming your ideas. Let's talk about transforming your business. And for this section, I'd like to take a case study, which is the exchange itself. You've seen our booth outside. You've probably heard about our amazing offer. We've got 10% for everyone who passed by our booth. So let's see the examples one by one. First, you need to transform and make the, sorry, can you go back to the previous slide? Okay, so you need to stand out. Let's move forward. Next, please. So make sure you stand out with every branding that you do. Next. Next, please. Okay, so here we're seeing the design. So the capacity of the design makes a very big difference. Always make sure that the way you're branding your components is actually trendy, it's modern, because people are being bombarded every single day by 100,000 images online. So you always need to come up with designs that are really trendy and really up to the level. Next. Freedom, from the packaging to the visual to the content. Next. Even the mobile apps need to stand out. This is for Aquafresh, for example. Notice the colors. If you see a mobile app that has such trendy colors, there's a higher chance that you will be able to remember it. Next. So again, we're at the transforming your business section. Let's move forward and start with our case study. The first advice is to engage. Make sure to engage with your target audience. Your mission is to create a community online and not just act as if you're a magazine or a TV station talking to the people. One example for the exchange is What Are You Here For? The campaign that we've had on our website. Each member can go on the exchange website and type in what they're here for in one word. So we could see examples on the website, for example. Next, please. Again. So Angelina, for example, I'm here for passion, posted 2 minutes ago. All of these pieces of content can be reused in marketing campaigns. Always try to create a campaign that is based on the people themselves. Next. Keep one story from A to Z. And what does that mean? Make sure that your whole campaign has one story. And in the exchange, we've done that. We did not only rely on the logo or on the material that is on the billboards or on the signage, even on the fence that is on the street. Let's take a look. I'm here for security. These faces, they tell stories. Always remember to keep one story from the macro level to the micro level while you're marketing. Next, please. Make sure you drive sales through experience. Next. If you visited our booth, you may notice that we have the virtual reality headset. If you put it on, you can feel as if you're inside the project. And this is very important. It's no longer the times where you can just knock on doors and try to sell people a washing machine like they used to do very long ago. Now you need to sell them through experience. You need to make them feel as if they're there. Next. Let's move on. Advertise for conversion. Long ago, advertising online meant driving traffic, getting people to your website. Now things have changed. It's no longer about getting the people. It's about getting them to convert. It's about getting them to actually take an action or buy something online. So always remember this word in mind when you're talking to your agency. Remember, it's all about conversion. Next. Increase your reach. So I've asked many of you about how many fans you have or what is your reach. Now is the time to reach more people. And we're no longer restricted to Ghana itself. You can create a campaign targeting the Ghanaian diaspora all over the world. You can pay money very efficiently, and you can only pay per clicks. So make sure that you always expand your reach and target the people that you want to reach. Next. We have 100,000 fans at the exchange, and we wouldn't exchange them for the whole world, and that's true. Listen first, sell second. This is the golden slogan of the social media. Always make sure to listen to your fans. Some examples of what we've seen on the page. It's going to be so amazing. I have watched and listened to their interviews, and it's great. You are an inspiration. Amazing quotes, but also make sure to also listen to the negative things that are said on your page in order to improve your business and make it reflect internally. Create content. I'm going to show you some pieces of content that we've shared online that have gotten amazing feedback. So this is the I Am Here For campaign. Let's move forward. Again, this is the teaser part here for life. So I'm here for life. This is all about creating content. When you create a visual that is this outstanding, people will remember it and will share it around. This is during the Independence Day, 60 and going stronger. Christmas. For every type of holiday or every type of event or idea, make sure you create the visuals that will leave an impact on people. Thank you. Building the future of Ghana, one horizon at a time. Okay, so we have one last part. I know you're looking at me to cut it short, but we have one last part. Please go ahead. Next. So here we're talking about games. There's something called gamification of business, and you need to remember that word because it's the trendy thing now. Whenever you create any type of new business or service, make sure you create a game out of it. And when I say a game, I don't necessarily mean Tetris or something that's fun, that has balls flying around. No, it can be actually a type of a game that is functional, that lets people use your service and at the same time win points or stars or experience points. Let's move forward. So for example, here we're asking people to share their blessings and win. Next. Show us the most affectionate photo with your mom and win an LCD TV. All of these games, they make a very big difference. Okay, so let's move forward now, please. Again. So the last part is transforming you. I'm going to do this quick, but this is very important. We need to do the transformation to be inside out. It cannot start with our business. It needs to start on the inside. Let's go through them one by one. So first, you need to choose your mission. Make sure that you and everyone around you, especially the youth, have a mission that they believe in, whether it may be human rights, nature, business, whatever you might think of. Next, Pick the tools. You need to know all the tools that are available digitally for you. Next, market yourself. Tell the youth, especially the Ghanaian youth, not only to concentrate on their business, they need to concentrate on themselves as well. They need to market themselves as people. Build an angels network. Mobilize the WhatsApp that you have. Make sure all your network and your PR is mobilized. Next, expand your reach. We've talked about it. Be a positive influence while impacting others. Remove all obstacles, especially if you're a political party or you're in government. Make sure you do not keep obstacles between you and other parties or other government entities, because people online, they really want to have a positive feeling and a positive impact. Believe in signs that come all around you. Connect with people that you feel you should connect with, people that might elevate your cause. And finally, I'd like to end with this quote. So never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed individuals can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. By Margaret Mead. So let us transform our ideas, our businesses, and ourselves in order to transform Ghana and transform Africa and transform actually the whole world. Thank you.
And we say many thanks to you, Ralph from Komfu. And if I give him the chance, he has a thing for every business, including the Invisible Forces and Delta Force. But ladies and gentlemen, the last panel with all the concluding remarks will last no more than 35 minutes. I promise you that. Exactly 6 o'clock, we'll be out of here. May I now hand you over to our amazing moderator, Mr. Mano. Take it away.
Thank you, Jerry. Thank you, the CEO Summit, for making this event possible, and thank you for the sponsors. I know all of you are waiting for the last bit. This is the most important, not to negate all the other ones. This is digital transformation. How are we going to transform the economies within Ghana and Africa using technology, using digitization, using great ideas? And if you want to have your dinner tonight, you have to stay and listen to all these smart men and women who are joining me tonight, this evening. I'm very, very honored to be your moderator. As I mentioned earlier, this is the most critical part of this whole summit, and thank you, Ernest de Graaf, for saving the best to last. All right, so I'm joined here by some amazing talent. If I mention your name, please let them know who you are and a few words, what you do, and then we'll move on real quick. We're going to be short, but it's going to be very insightful. The agenda is very simple. You will learn something. You'll leave here with an MBA tonight. And it's going to be in digital transformation and digital innovation. So we have with me Mr. Amir from Tigo. A few words.
Hi, I'm Amir Abdelazim. I'm the CTIO for Tigo Ghana.
Excellent. Let's give him a round of applause. And we also have Mr. Philip Soa, the CEO for AfriWave Telecom. And we have Mr. Robert Bartlett, CEO for Ghana Web.
Hi, Bartlett. I'm the founder and the CEO of Ghana Web, also known as Ghana Web Group. Thank you.
All right. Did you guys hear him? Ghana Web, a Dutch-based company that's been in Ghana for a long time. They are sharing content for us. And then, unfortunately, the CEO for IPMC couldn't join us. Next, we have Mr. Cecil Sankwa-Mills. See him.
Cecil, multi-choice.
Everybody knows multi-choice. Let's give it a round of applause. And we have my good friend, Kofi Datsi.
Hello. Rancard Software Technology.
Rancard Software Technologies. And then we have Madam Yolanda Zoleka Kuba.
Yeah. Hi, I'm the CEO of Vodafone Ghana.
The CEO of Vodafone Ghana. And Mr. Mohamed Lawar Rafiel.
Hello. I'm the CTO for MTN Ghana.
The CTO for MTN Ghana. For those of you that don't know, CTO stands for Chief Technology Officer. So he runs the network. We also have Professor Kweku Atuahene Gima. I think he didn't make it tonight. All right. We also have Madam Angela Chiramantine Jimo.
Hi, my name is Angela. I'm the country manager for IBM Ghana.
IBM Ghana. We also have Albert Biga on the table. All right, he didn't make it. All right, without further ado, this is the most exciting part. As you know, technology is driving everything. Information is in the live stream of every business. If you're here and you have a business, which I believe you do, and technology is not a key part of your business, the chances are your business might not do too well. It might not catch up with the wave of change that is happening. And the term has been thrown around quite a bit in terms of what digital innovation is. So Angela is going to take the lead and really dissect that for us and give us some clarity on this whole term. How do we use this? Where are we? What is digital innovation in simple terms? And how do we use that to transform our business? And where are we in this journey?
Okay. So I think I want to use this one. Hi, good evening. Good evening, everyone. Are we still awake? Good evening, everyone. Okay, so I'm very glad to be here. All protocol is observed. I think I like what the moderator said, that this is going to be an MBA lesson in digital innovation and where we are as an economy, how far we've come, and what has really caused this revolution that everybody is talking about. So I'll set the stage by, first of all, defining what we mean by a digital innovation economy. Right? So in very simple terms, and for the purposes of this conversation, digital innovation or a digital economy is basically using advanced technology to address some of the issues that we have in terms of creating competitiveness and also advancement and well-being of the society. Now, what has caused this revolution? Why is everybody talking about digital innovation? Everywhere you go, everywhere you read, we just, at the last World Economic Forum, there was a big debate on digital innovation and the importance of digital innovation for the economy right now. So in my opinion, I think 5 main technology trends have collided to create what we call a digital economy. What am I talking about? I'm talking about hyperconnectivity. I'm talking about supercomputers. I'm talking about cloud computing. I'm talking about cybersecurity and artificial intelligence. Watson, it's something that comes to mind. How have we created computers that can now understand, reason, and learn? All these technologies have come together to create a world that is very interconnected, is instrumented, and is intelligent. And it's forcing businesses and governments to rethink and reimagine how we create value, how we make decisions, and how we even distribute value, what we create. So it's very important for us to understand the importance of digital economy. And now let's look at Ghana. Where are we in this journey? Right. And to buttress what I think the last panel, somebody said that Ghana is not doing badly as a nation. I totally agree, but there's still room for improvement. And I like what the World Bank country manager said. He said we should not compare ourselves to just Sub-Saharan Africa. So if you look at the index for Sub-Saharan Africa, Ghana is among the top 10 countries that are doing very well in terms of digital economy. We are actually number 9, with Mauritius being number 1. Now let's move to the world stage. Now, before we even go there, let me now break it down to when you talk about digital economy, what are the different levels? And how do we place Ghana? So there are 4 distinct levels when it comes to digital economy. The first level is the constraint level. The constraint level are economies that are struggling to even come up with the infrastructure, the skills, and the affordability of ICT. They're struggling to build the building block for us to advance using ICT. Now, the level 2 is the emerging level. The emerging level, we look at countries like Ghana. Most of the African countries actually fall within this emerging level. And the emerging level, we've been able to create the building blocks. We've laid the foundation. We have the infrastructure. If you look at Ghana, for instance, 27.8% of people have access to the internet, according to the internet, according to a survey. I've forgotten the name of the survey, but I think it's internet.com stats or something like that. Anyway, so 27.8% of the economy has access to the internet. But how affordable is that? So the purpose of this conversation today is how do we move from level 2, which is the emerging level, to level 3, which is the transitional level? And who are the stakeholders? When we talk about the stakeholders, we're looking at the government, we're looking at businesses, and we are looking at individuals. We want to be able to walk away from here, equipping the CEOs, the government, to say, look, for us to move to the next level, what roles do we have to play? Because it's very obvious that the countries that are at the advanced level, who are like the countries like the UK and all that, they are deriving 20% economic benefit from being at that advanced level. So the purpose of today's discussion with all the panel members here is to work with the government, to work with the individuals, to work with businesses, and walk away with what do we have to do as a nation to move to the next level. So on that note, I will hand it over to the moderator.
Thank you, Angela. I mean, that was a very detailed definition. You're about 80% past your MBA score. We're going to get there soon. But in anything, there's a journey. And Ghana has certainly started this journey. I remember about 20 years ago when mobile phones emerged properly. If you had a mobile phone, you were the main man. There is a gentleman, Philip Sowa, you know this very well. I remember, I was very young when you started. And tell us how far have we, gone on this journey with this digital innovation? I mean, from Zain to Airtel, how far have we, advanced? Has there been any progress, basically?
No, thank you very much. Actually, it goes even before then. My wife used to work for Millicom in those days. So my family started in telecom a long time ago. No, but a lot has happened, and I think the key piece for us is that the telecom landscape has moved so quickly that now everything we used to do what they do on network PCs, we're doing on tablets and mobile phones. And if you look at the investments that the network companies have put in place, and then you have the new ISPs. I think we put in the base for this digital transformation to take place. But then technology doesn't move itself, and I think the key thing, and this for me the key point to government is that I think government can be a key driver of the next wave of transformation. For example, I don't see why we still sell forms for passports or any kind of government document. We have mobile money in just about all the operators. I don't see why we don't now enforce the movement of using mobile money without cashing out and taking out cash to go buy. So I think we've come a very long way. All the major investment has been done. I mean, there's still connectivity to rural areas and some of the other things yet to be done. But a lot of the infrastructure is in place. And so I think it's now us as business people to utilize that infrastructure that is on the ground.
Interesting. Just last week, how many of you know Paul Kagame? There was an African event, and he said, technology is changing the world very rapidly. And if Africa gets it right, just like we've leapfrogged with the phones, we will actually leapfrog in all the other sectors of our economy. So technology is not the afterthought. It's not, okay, the business is set up, now we need some computers, now we need to have some internet. the whole business ecosystem has to evolve from day one. From the center of your business plan, technology has to be the key part. But coming to the services or the benefits of this digital innovation, this goes to Amir. Oftentimes, around your office area, right? Everybody's using Tigo. There are a lot of technological benefits of the network. What have you seen as one of the drivers for the youth, and because they cannot be left behind? What have you seen from the youth adopting or starting early to use these mobile devices to drive the experience of taking care of day-to-day business services?
Thank you. I would like actually to start by saying that the digital economy itself is part of an ecosystem that is a digital lifestyle of the generation that we are dealing with. So starting by the youth, actually we're talking about the millennials generation. This is a generation that lost patience, actually, when it comes to information and knowledge that is required for it. So they are actually the main drivers of the digital transformation, and you can witness it actually on every activity they are doing. So I would like to tell you two differentiators when it comes to the digital transformation. What made it very different from all the different transformations that the world have seen in the previous 100 years is the individualization of the experience. And then the other part of it is the crowdsourcing of the experience. So in no time, actually, the youth have moved from the fact that they are our consumers, that they are the driver, actually, of the whole economy itself. So I would like you just to think, how would iOS or Android look like if there was no App Store? It was a clear example of moving it to the crowd, to do these apps and develop the apps and move it forward. So back to your question, what we see now is that that generation and the young people have moved from the fact that they are just a user of the internet like the previous generations, so they are the developers of the internet. They are the developing of the whole industry. So having said this, I think I would urge the government, if there is a real motive to move and evolve the digital economy, is that we need to measure ourselves against how many digital incubators we have for these young generators and how many we are giving the affordability for them to have what is required to generate their ideas and transform it and then drive the whole generation. That would require infrastructure, that would require connectivity, that would require cybersecurity, as Madame has mentioned as well.
Excellent. So individualize the experience. Government should be part of the strategy and the definition or the transformation experience. There's another gentleman, Robert, you've been around for quite some time. I remember when I was in the States, Ghana Web was where you normally would go to get content about Ghana and what's happening in Ghana. How is content development and credible data helping in this digital transformation that we're seeing? What's the quality of data that we're getting, and how can we learn from that to help businesses or sort of leverage the same processes in acquiring credible data in their day-to-day experience?
Okay, now let me tell you something about Ghana Web. Basically, it's focused on a very old idea, the free flow of news, information, and to facilitate people in expressing themselves. Ghana Web, apart from a news platform, is also a medium of freedom of expression. And those are values, well, older than the digital age, but we make it becomes possible at an unprecedented scale because of the new digital facilities we have, the internet, cloud computing, etc. The quality of data. How do we control the quality of data? Basically, we do it the old-fashioned way by having a big team on the ground, consisting of journalists, selecting the news, verifying the news, cross-checking it as much as it is possible, and publishing it. What makes it different from a newspaper? The difference is that we can do it 24 hours per day. If something happens, like for example, a couple of years ago, President Mills died in the night, we are able to report on it, bring the facts, and well, such things wouldn't have been possible 20 or 30 years ago, when we only had newspapers. So these are the changes which have been possible by the digital economy.
Excellent. So basically, the quality of data is handled by
humans.
Your big team, basically.
Yes, basically by humans, and in the process, we create job opportunities for people here in Ghana. We have quite a big staff of journalists, and you get a nice income, good working conditions through this new medium.
Thank you. Quality of data is very important. Garbage in, garbage out. In the digital era, the quality of data is very key. It's the center of all decision making. One of the things we've seen is just as the youth are connected, they're connecting. The content is being delivered. We have web presence. People no longer have to buy newspaper. They just go online and scan content. There's something that's very critical as well. The businesses wanting to get their connected offices. They're looking at, okay, we no longer want to run long cables. Why can't we become wirelessly connected? So Yolanda, you've been around. In the past, when you hear telecom, the first thing that comes to mind in Ghana is Ghana Telecom. Now it's Vodafone. Right? How are we connecting the businesses? How do we get the businesses included in the connected ecosystem?
Yeah, I think, firstly around the whole issue around digitization and why is digitization first a revolution? The reason is very simple, is that it's actually moving input cost to near zero. That's the reason why this thing is working. It's not because of some magic that people are coming up with. Because if I wanted to send a package from here to somewhere, today I can actually send it via email at a cost of 0.0001 pesos. Okay? Just imagine 50 years ago, I needed to employ someone and actually get someone with a car or a chocho or whatever and actually move them physically from one location to the other and costing me money. That's the reason why this thing is a revolution. And I think there is an underappreciation in a lot of quarters that I walk into of how much digitization actually will change the way we do things and how much it actually has changed the way we actually do things today. So for me, it's important that we actually understand that if my input costs were near zero, what more would I do? Because those are the questions that we're actually not asking today as Ghanaians and as people in Africa, because that's the game changer. The game changer is actually understanding that and actually using our thinking capability, not technology, thinking capability in order to actually facilitate that. For me, that's the first thing. The second thing, which is actually been only done by the mobile operators so far that I've seen, is that they've actually taken things that were difficult to do and democratized it. Okay, and what I mean by that, for example, is communication. 20 years ago, how many times did you communicate with your mother in another country or in another province? You wrote her a letter once every month, or you actually call someone and it's a house with the phone which was a landline connected by Ghana Telecom. Okay, and it would be once a month or twice a month, and someone had to call someone to actually, in order for you to make that connection. Today, with mobile phones, with the mobile operators, what have we done that is different, that allows you to talk 20 times a day to someone? 20 times a day. From less than 0.00 per month to more than 20 times a day. You know what we've done? We've actually democratized how we charge for data. We democratize how we actually charge for communication. And for me, once we start applying that kind of thinking again to some of the big issues that we have, then that's where we're actually going to actually ignite this revolution. Because if you think about it, if we applied that to healthcare today, if we applied it to how we collect rates today, if we started government saying, actually, instead of collecting rates once a month, I'm actually going to collect it every day, but I'm going to collect it as 10 pesos per day. All of a sudden, government coffers actually increase because people are willing to actually pay 10 pesos a day. So how do we use the logic of micro payments, micro utilization in order to drive that? Because today, when someone calls, they actually are using less than, in effective charge, most probably of somewhere in the region of 5 to 10 pesos. And that's why they don't mind actually calling 20 times. So how are we driving this kind of thinking? For me, it's more around the thinking. How do we drive that kind of thinking within everyone, within Ghana, within our youth, so that we are not just consumers? The complex economy that was spoken about earlier today, around how do we diversify our economy? That's what the lady from the Oxford Group actually was talking about. How do we create a compound kind of economy? For me, we actually start doing that by actually utilizing digital. How do we use internet to actually be able to provide services and actually charge for services that we previously actually haven't charged for? And how do we then educate our youth and everyone in the economy in order to actually start creating value through digital as a platform? So for me, that's how I look at it first. And then the issue of connectivity then comes in. How do we make sure that we have sustainable connectivity? Today, obviously because of our legacy Ghana Telecom kind of business as Vodafone, we have the widest reach in terms of fixed infrastructure in the country. That does give us an absolute advantage around actually providing fixed, because data actually requires good bandwidth. We are lucky in Ghana because we have multiple undersea cables that actually land in this country. I mean, if you actually go further north, it rely on Ghana to actually get their connectivity so that they can get internet connectivity. In Ghana, we have it right here. But are we utilizing it for growth? And that's really where I'm almost challenging even my team in the business to say, are we thinking digital first? Are we thinking that we actually have to use the connectivity, the internet, as the way to actually think about product, how we think about including people? Because with technology, the one thing you can do that you couldn't do previously is that you can include more people. A week ago, we launched something actually that everyone has said it's amazing, where we actually created a call center for people that are hearing and speech impaired. And for the first time, they said someone actually is thinking about us. Because just think about it, if you are in excluded economy, community like that, how do you interact with people? How do you get services? Because you can't call and say, hello, can I please get the service? They can't. So you actually have to give solutions for them that allows inclusion. Financial inclusion, for me, M-Pesa and the mobile money services that you're seeing today. Those are all around inclusion. In Kenya, Safaricom, which is our sister company within the Vodafone Group, actually pioneered mobile money services. And today, they can give you empirical evidence of how much of the GDP of the country is contributed because of the things that we're actually doing today. Last week, I was at the payment councils here at the BOG, and basically, the whole thing was around how much money we print. If we actually can eliminate the printing, we actually will allow ourselves to take that money and invest it in social programs, in education, in hospitals, in other areas where we actually are able to actually make a meaningful impact in society. So for me, connectivity is but one of the issues. However, how do we think digital? How do we think in a way that is not bricks and mortar and actually say, if my cost of production was near zero, what is it that I would do? Rather than I need X million or X thousands of CDs before I can actually start a business. You can start a business today with almost nothing. And I would like to encourage all the youth to do that.
Wow. For those of you who stay, definitely you're going to get your MBA tonight. And this is evident in terms of the value of what digital innovation could do and transformation. It's actually basically touching lives, improving lives, right? There's something that happens in a community. When I was young as well, we used to gather around the television, and all we used to watch was black and white TV, right? There was no other station. It was GTV, and that was it. In this digital economy, some things have changed. There's more choice. There are more options. Connectivity costs have gone down, IPTV for the hotels and things like that. Cecil, walk us through what you're doing, what the context looks like for the future ahead in terms of where media plays a big role in this whole ecosystem for businesses as well.
I think for content, it's come a long way, like you said. We started off with analog terrestrial, which was in the 90s, and we moved on to satellite, which enhanced distribution and quality of the pictures. And then we've moved and added digital terrestrial now. And now we're talking about what we call multi-room, and multi-screens. And that is in line with the developments happening, especially in the telco section. And we've had collaborations with the telcos in terms of delivery of service, payment systems. I think we're one of the first companies to have partnered with the telcos to enhance payment through mobile money traditionally, and this has now been done remotely. For businesses, we have extended coverage. We've now moved to IPTV4. You know that in hotels you get a much better signal and other information in terms of what the people in the hotel do receive. But in line with all this development in Ghana specifically, there's a need, and I think we should look at that slant of what government has to do to drive this whole growth and innovation. We are quite weak when it comes to the organization of the regulatory framework. As we speak, we've not migrated to digital on terrestrial, which is going to happen. But we've seen a lot of TV stations coming up. There's no control on content being shown, irrespective of age restrictions, etc. And these are things that tend to go back, and it eventually hits what you call, which people do not immediately connect with, which is the creative industry. Now, for creativity of content, the main channel with the biggest return is theater, cinema, and pay TV, before you move on to free-to-air and other channels online. Because there's a need to have a revenue model to support creativity. So you would find comparatively in different countries, even in some countries in Africa, the strength of content, because of return, is much better. So it's important that this section and government looks at how they can look at some models that have been done to structure regulation, tax structure. As we speak now, Ghana has the highest tax bracket across Africa for subscriptions. Nigeria is 5%. We do about 25% in Ghana. So if you look at the projected growth in the sector, for some countries projected for 2016, they have exceeded what was projected. Ghana sits at around 23%, which is the lowest. Of course, we've had our power challenges, etc. So with that kind of support from government, I believe there's a lot of room for growth. We work together with other pay TV companies. We've actually formed a consortium, and we're beginning to engage government to look at issues of taxation and regulation to allow the business to grow. I think we should be about 5-6 times the numbers that we have now. And this is where we think we want to focus, and then we can support the creative industry, which includes sports and movies, etc., and then we can get what we want.
Wow, I've learned so much. I missed you, I think, from the early. Please introduce yourself.
Sure, I was going to say, it looks like I'm the odd one out here, so which is why you missed me.
You're the best to last.
Exactly. So my name is Bright Owusu Amofa. I'm the CEO for Apollonia Development Company. Apollonia is a mixed-use city for 90,000 residents just on the outskirts of Accra. I believe in the organizers' own wisdom. There's probably a reason why they put me on this panel. As I said, my company is not directly involved in IT or ICT, but I believe all these digital transformation, innovation we're talking about relies heavily on infrastructure and planning. So one of the key things that we are doing as a company, for instance, is that, even before we launched the project or we executed, there's a whole ICT master plan for the entire city, which is what I believe should be the way forward, in partnering with governments and local private developers to be able to push this digital transformation that we're talking about. It relies on infrastructure. So we first of all need to plan. I think we've all seen the likes of a lot of telcos digging our cities and putting in fiber optic ducts. That shouldn't be the way. We, for instance, have retrofitted all our roads with ICT ducts already. So when the markets and the demand comes, the telcos only have to come in and blow that fiber. We're also thinking about digital transformation. I was reading this research where, for instance, in buying property, the key consideration that most people look at is location. Now, if you look at the recent trend, that is changing because research shows that about 30% of people are now working from homes. What this means is that we need to start thinking about the future. In 10 years' time, will people be thinking about location when they're buying property? Probably not. So again, this should go into our planning and should go into the way the digital transformation is being implemented. And these are all things that we should consider. And I believe it's not just the job of all distinguished gentlemen and ladies sitting here in the ICT and telco industry. It's the onus lies on the likes of developers, government, and other players in the industry to ensure that we are putting our best to ensure that we promote the industry. All right, thank you.
I've been to your site. It's beautiful.
Thanks.
The road network is also very great. And the reason you're on the panel for the businesses represented here is to, from the business user side, what are some of the dependencies that you rely on to make sure your business becomes successful? What will be the impact if, for example, there's no internet in your community? How many users will even decide to buy, right? They could take the dongles, they could take their phones, but they might not have the reliable internet that is requisite for doing proper business. So I think you're right on the money. Ranked, we've read about you. Typically, a lot of people don't innovate. They iterate. They repeat things, right? And what some of the innovative companies are doing in Ghana, such as Ranked, you've leveraged what's already been built and created value-added services and solutions and software to make life more easier for us. So where the software and where's the human capital component plays in this digital innovation. You and I worked in Dell. You see how much the businesses invest in terms of human capital development. Right? It's very, very essential. You could go to law school, start a nice law firm, or start a banking ecosystem or a bank, and technology becomes the center. If the network is down, the business has stopped. Where is the human capital component coming from to transform this digital innovation business thing we're talking about?
I like to partner with universities like Ashesi, but in multiple levels. Last year, I took my 8- and 7-year-old kids to the Ashesi AIX. It's a robotics fair. And they basically observed the open day with the smart homes these high school kids had constructed with LEDs and sensors and fans switching on and off with signals and stuff like that. And then they watched the last stage, which was a competition. And it's beautiful listening to my 9-year-old daughter describe verbatim what she saw. And she actually uses the technical terms and says it was a factory environment and there were these, it even escaped me, conveyor belts. And so you had these robotic arms that these teams had built and they had to lift these objects. they had to have their robots walk a particular path and then go and deposit them. Now, it's interesting watching these kids do that, watching my daughter do that, because 6 months later, she was building in 2.5 days a 350-plus part crawling robot, mechanical and electronic parts. And it was so amazing watching her do it. I videoed it because I knew afterwards if I described it to her grandparents, they'll be like, did you help her? I just watched. It's really important that when we talk about removing barriers, when we talk about building human capital, the things that we need to do are to just put the stuff in people's hands and let them try. Because all the great innovators, inventors, and engineers of the world were people who took things apart, who were given permission when they were kids to take things apart and put them together today. In Rancard, our SVP engineering, Ivo Bento, who went to Harvard and Dartmouth and worked at Vitesse Semiconductor and all of that, when he describes his upbringing, what he constantly says is his parents allowed him to take anything apart. So he grew up doing what he enjoyed, taking things apart, putting them back together today. The sort of stuff which he's leading on in Rancard today in voice music fingerprinting. Now what's interesting is if you are operating in an advanced economy, you don't really solve hard problems. The hard problems are solved first in the universities and research institutions like DARPA. And then the R&D is matured in places like IBM Labs and HP and other places. And then by the time your average engineer is doing something neat, there are all these layers. When you're in an economy like ours, and you're dealing with the raw aspects of the 3 L's of engagement, language, literacy, lifestyle. And so a significant part of the population still just wants to talk. They don't want to text, they don't want to type, they don't want to be behind a laptop, they just want to talk. But they want the same services. They want everything that the people in this room enjoy. Then it means you have to build yet another fundamental layer of technology. You have to understand how to do very basic things like voice authentication. Voice music fingerprinting means that, for instance, somebody can use a phone call, which is low-quality audio, being relayed over your telephone switch, and then process the data that comes over that, and then translate it to the cloud, match it all in real time, and give them value back. What we're doing in Rancard today is to take an AI layer, right? So you're going to do first telephony voice, voice to text, right? Text to language, because they may have called in Ga or Tri or Hausa. That's the language they choose to speak, not necessarily because the person isn't literate, but it's a language choice or it's a lifestyle choice. And for most of you businesses here, if I go around the room looking behind at the banners and stuff back there, many of you have a large class of customers you can't reach and can't engage effectively because you're not able to reach them how they want to engage. But if you go through these layers, after you translate voice to text, then you can do natural language processing. Eventually, with increased machine learning, as we build this data translation layer, you're actually able to get the answers right. Now look at your knowledge base. Or if you're using voice authentication, actually log them into their account. But for the user, they're doing it the way they want. I think this is what technology is all about. It's about relevance. If we're going to go back to this old term of bridging the digital divide, people don't talk about that a lot. It's about using technology to reach people in a way that is relevant to them. That's the only way we're really going to get to the last mile and the billions outstanding, is to build these technologies to reach them. Now, the challenge of the engineers, like myself, operating in these developing economies, is to build a new layer of technology that gets to people, overcoming these 3 L's, language, literacy, and lifestyle.
Wow. Mr. Amano, I can hear the telcos clearly saying, you have 1 minute remaining.
Whoa. Anyway, thank you for the reminder. We're almost done. MBA class is soon to close. And I'll leave the last question to Mr. Mohammed. government is trying very hard to meet the scale of our e-governance index. Right now we're around 123. Nigeria, by the way, is 144 on the list, right? This is the United Nations index. And you've been in Nigeria. You've seen the challenges that Nigerians have dealt with in terms of scale, right? Ghana is very small compared to Nigeria. Where are we? Where are the opportunities between business and government to allow us to collaborate, to accelerate this whole e-standard? For example, you go to pay your ECG, and the lady there tells you the system is down. Now, ECG is government, right? They have distribution network. They rely on telcos, such as yourself, right? So you go and he or she tells you, oh, it's down. It's not our fault. ECG said it's MTN's fault, sorry. Or it's Vodafone's fault, or it's Tigo's fault. What can we do between the private sector, right, and the public sector to accelerate this journey really, really fast? Because it can impact the education, it can impact healthcare. Somebody wants to do surgery in the village. They have good internet. They can be connected to a good surgeon somewhere in the US for proper diagnosis. There's a radiology document they need to read. There's so much benefit, but there's a lot of barriers standing in our way because, one, we can't scale very fast. What are some of the lessons you've learned working in MTN, working in Nigeria, and then also running the network here?
Thank you very much. First of all, I would like to start with the basic requirements for advancing digitization. And I think what we would like to leave this place with is a way forward. What do we need to do to move forward? The first and foremost thing is connectivity, as we have described, the basic infrastructure that is required for these machines or these people to connect and be able to carry out normal activities in a digital way. In Ghana, I think there is a lot of people are connected, and I think the number has been mentioned here. However, there is need to extend that connection and make the connections that we have a lot more robust. In this area, the government can help in removing all the barriers that make the expansion difficult. For example, right-of-ways, permits, and things like that. These are things that slow down the pace of this development. So if those things are removed, I believe we can expand much faster. And then we are also, in many cases, thinking about connecting the unconnected, which is there are a lot of people in this country that today do not have any connection. So we have to collaborate with government, GIFEC, NCA, and everybody else involved to move this infrastructure to the rural areas so that more people can be connected. The more people are connected, the easier it is to digitize everything. That brings me to the second point, which is the use cases. The more use cases we have, the faster we move in this journey of digitization. Somebody mentioned forms to apply for a passport. Why is it manual? It can be digital, and it's done digital in many places. But it cannot be restricted to the people in Accra. It has to be available to the people in the villages as well, because they are also entitled to passports. So this technology has to be moved to those areas so that these use cases can be developed. And then the government can also help in introducing new use cases. For example, this is just a use case that we have discussed now. The more use cases you have, the more people become technology savvy, and the more and more use cases are going to be developed. And then to the industry, I mean, all the people that are sitting here, use cases are really important in developing these solutions. We, the technology companies, cannot think of the use cases because we are not the users. So the use cases have to come from people that have these use cases. They have to think to say, okay, this is a process that can be digitized. Therefore, let us partner with the telecom companies or the IT companies or the solution development companies and digitize this process. And there is one thing about use cases as well. There are generic use cases which are applicable around the world, but there are many use cases that are specific to certain countries or certain industries. And those use cases can only come from those countries or those industries. So I believe if we collaborate all with the government and all the industry players to develop new use cases and to expand this infrastructure, it is going to be a lot easier and digitization is going to move a lot faster than it is today. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Mohammed, Mr. Mohammed. This brings us to the end of the MBA class for digital innovation. If you need the certificates, please contact me in private in chambers. I'll get you your certificate. I think it's been very enlightening hearing from Mr. Amir from Tigo, CTO. One of the things he mentioned is we have to contextualize the experience for the youth. They are the consumers of the economy. We have more able youth today in Ghana or in Africa at large than most other developed countries. And then followed by Angela, who basically laid the foundation for us actually about where this innovation can take us. We also had a commentary from Philip Soa saying that we've evolved. It's no longer from PCs, so the experience is no longer on desktops, right? It's now moved to the mobile phones. So let's create solutions to reach these individuals who are now on the mobile phone. Everybody's using the phone today. Let's create solutions that target mobile-first solutions, if you will. And Robert helped us a bit on this quality of data. Who are your data custodians? Are they local? Are they offshore? Who are the stewards? Who is helping you to basically cleanse your data as well? And then Yolanda took us through the practicalities of this innovation. Let's have inclusion. Let's have some cost reduction because we can save so much. If we digitize, we don't have to print currency anymore, right? If we digitize, we don't have to wait to make payments. We don't have to stand in lines in the banks, right? So there's cost reduction there. And then Cecil took us through what media could do for us in the corporate world. There's a lot of hurdles that we need to overcome in terms of the tax bracket to make the consumption of media more appealing. And then Bright definitely confirmed the need for us to grow this digital economy because they are waiting. Revenue loss is at stake. If you put the investment down and you build this infrastructure, housing, you might not actually sell out really quick. So investment must be protected on that. And then Mohammed took us to the last bit. Also, Ranka took us to the journey of starting them young. Human capital development should start young. We should create the labs and the working environments to allow our workforce, our task forces, to actually touch these technologies, right? Even at our end, we're trying to create lab experiences for corporate Ghana. And then last but not the least, let's connect the unconnected. You cannot talk digital innovation without connectivity. It's the foundation. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. Dinner is at home. And thank you for staying. All right.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Samuel Amano and his very amazing panelists, we say thank you to all of them. But ladies and gentlemen, you've been very warm, very receptive. Please give yourselves a round of applause. You're truly deserving of that. I must sincerely apologize that today took a toll on all of us because it's the opening ceremony and a lot of things went a little way out of line. But tomorrow, we assure you that we'll stick within time. The whole entire event will last from 9 o'clock to exactly 2 o'clock, and we shall bring it to the end with a very powerful gala in the evening. Tomorrow, we shall kickstart with a presentation, very short one, which would be on, I beg your pardon, a case study on the use of digital technology to transform business. Thereafter, we shall delve into the heart of the matter, digital innovation once more. But ladies and gentlemen, we'll align the board and management during corporate transformation. We shall also have growth, inclusion, and the women's empowerment panel. You don't want to miss that for anything at all. Sustainable development goals will feature very highly on the agenda. But most importantly, we'll talk about Brexit and we'll talk about its impact. Already Uganda and Kenya have broken ties with the EU and they are in close talks with the Brits. Let's see what comes out of that. Ladies and gentlemen, it will not be complete if we don't talk about Donald Trump, the latest phenomenon to hit the world. But ladies and gentlemen, let's do something special right about now. How many of our panelists and speakers do we have around still? Please show by hands, how many of our panelists and our speakers do we have still? Please rise to your feet. Let's acknowledge you with a warm round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen, our speakers and our panelists. And so for keeping faith with us and lasting this long, we have something very special for you. Let's have you at the front. Let's give you a little token of our appreciation. To all our speakers and moderators, please, let's have you at the front. We beg you in all the names of God. Let's see you. A round of applause for them as they come. All our speakers, all our panelists, all our moderators, let's see you at the front. We have something special for you, just to say thank you. Tomorrow morning, ladies and gentlemen, registration will be from 7 to 8:30, and we hit the ground exactly at 9 o'clock. We'll be live on Joy 99.7 and all our other sister partner stations. Ladies and gentlemen, as tradition demands, we'll take one big photograph together, and it will be, you know, a reminder of those who stayed faithful to the end. Can I have all of you, please, on stage? I beg you. Let's capture this moment. We will do. Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, at the instance of the CEO of Vodafone, she's brought some innovation to this whole picture thing. Shall we please take our phones out and turn our backs towards the stage and make sure that we capture ourselves and a few people within the precinct of our phone? Can we try that, please? Another innovation from Vodafone. So if we're ready, ladies and gentlemen, we just say Ghana CEO Summit, and then we say hip, 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 hip. So please make sure that you capture as many people as possible with your phone, Ghana CEO Summit with the hashtag, and send it out there on Twitter, on Instagram, and on Facebook. We say many thanks to you for coming today. See you tomorrow. Good night.